Hello, I am Jong-man Kim. Not Spider-Man, not Superman, not Snowman, but just Jong-man. I usually introduce myself like this to Americans, but I'm sure Koreans understand it too, right? So my name is Kim Jong-man. I am a Korean actor currently active in Hollywood. For those of you who don't know me, you may have seen me in Netflix's Love Season 2, Fox Studios' Speechless Season 3, and you might also recognize me looking like this. I've also been in the commercial for iPhone. So I've appeared as an Elvis Presley in that red outfit. Well, being out here today, I'd like to share some things that I've felt with all of you. When you're feeling tired, worn out, exhausted, or when you just want to give up and walk away, I sincerely hope that you won't quit, but instead will find the strength to challenge yourself one more time, even if it feels difficult. With that in mind, and because I truly care, I'd like to take this opportunity to share my own experiences and stories with you all. Sometimes you just need to go for it without overthinking. You might be wondering if I'm talking about something extraordinary, but actually, this is something remarkable. It's not something that should be overlooked. It really is something remarkable. If you listen to my speech all the way to the end, you'll understand what I mean by just going for it. You'll see what it means and just how powerful it can be. About 10 years ago, when I was living through my mid 30s, I was performing in small plays at Daehakro. So I had my own theater troupe. And I was also teaching at a university, giving acting lessons and such. I was trying to lead a somewhat stable life. But deep down, in one corner of my heart, I kept thinking, what if I just keep living on like this and my life ends up being completely ordinary? That fear, that anxiety was always there. And now that I was in my mid 30s, I had no choice but to keep thinking I should reset my life. That thought kept circling around in my head. Not only that, I was also very sensitive. I didn't smile, and all I talked about 24 hours a day was acting. I thought of myself as an artist. At the time, I also suffered of an unknown disease. They couldn't specify it. So I kept wasting and withering away like a skeleton, really. With that situation continuing to worsen, honestly, I even thought about ending my life. But then I thought, well, whether I die like this or like that, isn't dying the same in the end? And then I thought, why don't I just do what I want to do for a bit before I die? Let me try living the way I want to live. And then, well, if I die, so be it. With that thought, I decided to try living in the US for just 3 years to see if I could endure it there. The country I feared the most, the scariest country for me. One of the birthplace of modern acting, home to Broadway and Hollywood. I set myself the mission to endure there for just 3 years. And so I went to America. And of course, with no plans. Despite everyone I knew tried to stop me from going, I left for New York and started a new life there. But when I first arrived, honestly, it was so much harder than I had imagined it to be. It was because I went there without being able to speak a single word of English. So what basically happened was a person who wants to act in English but can't speak English goes there and somehow just keeps pushing forward and ends up getting accepted to a famous acting school in New York. But when I got there, the words I used the most were sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know. And what does that mean? I kept repeating those words over and over again. And because I was asking all the time, my classmates would get annoyed because they needed to study too. So then I would go ask someone else and I would say, ah, I am stupid. I am stupid. Please help me. That's how I got help from those friends. So although I was active as an artist in Daehakro in Korea, I put aside all of my self-esteem, pride, and even my personality completely and just kept living like that without any hesitation. And eventually, I somehow graduated. I could have taken a break, but instead, I applied to an even more prestigious acting school and got accepted there as well. It was a place called the Acting Studio. At that time, I met my acting mentor, James Price. So I got to meet my mentor. And what James Price told his students during the very first day of class happened to become a guiding principle in my life. Act before you think. To put it in Korean, it means to take action. Before your thoughts arise. At the time, I thought, does that mean to just do things without thinking? Well, I wasn't really sure what it meant. In Korea, people say, hey, think before you act. But this was the complete opposite. After all, coming all the way to America was already a leap of faith. And I'm living in New York on a whim. So I thought, why not just dive into acting the same way? Even if I didn't know something, I kept asking questions, smiled when confused, saying I'm stupid, and just lived recklessly like that. So out of that tough course that started with 13 people, everyone else dropped out, and I ended up graduating as one of the remaining 6. However, going through this process was incredibly tough. In such difficult situations and hardships, whenever I felt scared and anxious, wanting to run away, I always told myself this. Just do it, no matter what, Jong-man. No matter how inexperienced you are, no matter how small the task is right now. Just do it. If you just keep doing it, it'll be okay. You're already challenging yourself right now, aren't you? Then it's okay. Even if you cry, it's okay to cry. And so I then started living without overthinking things. Does that mean it's not hard? No, it's incredibly hard. I felt like I was going to die. I thought of giving up on everything for several times. But why did I keep going? No matter how hard and painful things got, what kept me going was my curiosity about my own potential. How far will I be able to reach? To this day, I am curious about how far I can reach and how far my dream can go. That's why I'm living my life so recklessly like this. After finishing that 3-year journey in the acting academy, I succeeded in my mission in New York. I could have just come back to Korea, but I thought, well, since it's come to this, why not just head down to Hollywood without a plan? So here's my list of things to do recklessly. Let me introduce just a couple of them. Since I'm an actor, I have to go around knocking a lot of doors. Audition after audition, and then rejection after rejection. After meeting people like that over and over, I somehow ended up going to auditions along with my American friends. And while they all got rejected, I alone was accepted by the Danny Strickland talent agency. I thought everything opened up for me by then. I thought, my Hollywood life is finally beginning. But when I actually tried it, I realized it just doesn't work that way. It was not because I'm Asian, but because the system of Hollywood itself is a survival system. Why else would people call it the acting Olympics? Even so, I thought, let me give it another try. While going at it without a plan, I ended up getting a big audition. It was for Modern Family, a major American TV show. So I went for an audition at Fox Studios. Unfortunately, however, I didn't make it there. Fox Studios. If you look at my face now, I'm making all sorts of expressions, but back then, let me tell you what state I was in. I had prepared so hard for it. And when I finally stood in front of this casting director, I delivered my first English line like this. Hello, this is what I think. And then, stop. They told me to stop. Sorry, but we need someone with an American accent. My face turned bright red. It felt like my heart was going to explode. And they told me to leave. But what could I do? I had to leave. I probably didn't even fully understand what they said. Then on my way out, I took a picture of it without thinking and posted it on social media. I told myself I shouldn't forget this day. If you look at my face back then, you can tell. I felt like dust, and I thought maybe it was just an empty dream. Maybe I was just desperately struggling in vain. I should maybe just go back to Korea. Give up. That's how I felt at the time, but I don't know why. For some reason, instead of giving up, I kept going and started doing things recklessly again. After repeatedly facing rejection after rejection at auditions, I eventually got to film season 2 of the Netflix series Love at Universal Studios. Starting with this, the way I was treated completely changed. They even gave me my own trailer, and people started recognizing me on the street. Local friends would say I'd become a star after filming a drama. For the first time, I felt like I had been accepted by American society. For the first time, I felt like I had been accepted inside the walls of Hollywood. Above all, I realized it was possible. My dream wasn't just an empty fantasy. That was the first day I truly experienced that with my own body. After that, I kept going around auditioning at Hollywood studios like I was conquering them one by one. And eventually, I returned to the dreaded Fox studio. That's when I got to appear in season 3 of Speechless. This time, they gave me a trailer. They gave me a trailer and a bigger role than before, so I was actually able to get my chance of revenge. But I didn't stop there. I kept visiting Hollywood studios. And then I auditioned for a commercial that you all know. But for this one, I felt already rejected even before because I had to prepare singing. Also, I wasn't even auditioning for the role I wanted. It was an Eskimo or something like that. It wasn't for me. I knew that they weren't going to pick me, but I decided, let's just go in without overthinking it. Since I'm going in anyway, I might as well enjoy it. So I just went and had fun. I even showed some Taekwondo moves. I did what they asked and even things they didn't ask for. Later on, I found out that it was actually an Apple iPhone commercial that would be shown on TV all over the world. It was broadcast all over the world. And my mom told me it even aired in Korea through an outdoor broadcaster. My dad was on the phone with me, and tears started to well up. I was driving at the time. No matter how hard I work in New York, there's usually no way for my parents in Korea to know about it. But for the first time, my parents could see their son on TV, no matter which channel they turned to, before and after the nightly drama. And seeing how happy they were made me feel proud of myself for the first time. And I just throw parties without much planning. Whenever things get tough, I just threw one. I'd make bulgogi or mix up some glass noodles, tell the kids to come over, and serve them Korean food. Once I threw a big birthday party with about 150 people gathering, and I ended up giving a speech that day about my dream that I want to be the first Asian to win the Academy Award for Best Actor in 3 years. And people laughed out loud. And 3 years passed since then. My mission failed. I failed. I wasn't even nominated. However, instead, I am here on the SEBASI stage with the SEBASI team and with you, 200 people. So, does that mean I failed? It is a failure, but I got really close. Between A and B, I am at the point of A dash. In fact, the Oscar winning film La La Land, that famous movie. I worked on an Apple commercial with the cinematographer from that film, and I've appeared in countless American TV shows, and I live in the very neighborhood where the Hollywood Dolby Theater Academy Awards are held. I moved there on purpose, so I could see it every day. And in the building right next to mine, the Chinese Theater, a movie featuring my face is being screened right next door. So I am almost there. And since most of them wouldn't cast me as the lead, I started producing myself. So I produced 2 feature films. I played the lead and did everything myself. That's how far I've come, and I will keep moving forward. Once again, I want to say here and now today that starting from now, my dream is to become the first Asian to win Best Actor within 3 years. So please keep an eye on me. Please keep watching how I go. If it doesn't work out, I'll just try again then. So everyone, even though it's tough, of course, when you take on challenges, it gets really hard. You feel powerless, and waves of despair come over you. But I can't do it alone. I had all the people around me. When I was auditioning in Hollywood, there was a time when, even after months of trying, Nothing worked out. I felt like dust. I once passed an audition during that time, but when they called me, my phone battery was dead, so I couldn't answer. So it got cancelled. The payment for that commercial was $200. It wasn't about the money. At that time, the only moment I felt alive was when I was standing in front of the camera. Otherwise, I was just like dust. And one day when those emotions were at their peak, I decided to upload a video of myself talking to Facebook. At that moment, I thought maybe sharing these difficult feelings could help someone else. And then an 11-year-old child actor left me a long message. To sum it up, it said, Mr. Jong-man, don't be sad. Please know that you are loved by more people than you think, and you influence many people. I think what you need is a hug. So never give up. I will give you a hug. I am Helen Rose, your oldest, biggest fan. After reading this long and sincere message, regardless of this friend's honest mention of her race or age, I thought, all right, let's give it a try. One more time. So what I'm trying to say is, even during those dark times, you can still just do something. Use your curiosity on your potential as the driving force. And if that still doesn't work, there are people around you. I know you all are having hard times during this difficult period, but someone around you will be willing to give you a hug, like how Miss Rose wrote to me. And I am to you too. It's not because I'm special, but because I'm also someone who chases after my curiosity, believing only in my own potential. So everyone, ask yourself what your dream is and how far can your potential actually go. Let yourself be curious just once, for your own sake, and act before you think. Just go ahead and try it without overthinking. If it feels too hard, just start by cleaning your room or doing the dishes. As you do those things, you'll end up paying your overdue electricity or gas bills, then maybe checking your emails, or even leaving a comment on SEBASI. Whatever it is, as you keep doing things, something really interesting will happen. Do you know why? It's because you have limitless potential within you. I sincerely hope that you try listening to that potential within you. Thank you for listening to my story.